Peace to the family. Today I'm gonna take a stab at a challenge that I saw on the YouTube from a brother Pan-Africanist, Afro think, and it's about the wonderful country and the wonderful people of Burkina Faso. All right. My first experience and love of Burkina Faso came from the legendary Thomas Sankara. We're talking roughly 1988, 1989. Brother Thomas Sankara was assassinated as the leader of Burkina Faso. This is a long and tragic story because he was murdered by one of his best friends. Goes by the name of Blaise Compaoré. Blaise Compaoré is presently residing in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. Right? So that's a little backstory about some of the politics of Burkina Faso. But I want to be real and be authentic with you. My love of the Burkina Bay people goes back to probably, I guess maybe 92, 93, right before the Olympics was coming to the city of Atlanta. There were some guys from Burkina Faso that were living and working in Decatur, Georgia, which is where I'm from. I'm from Decatur, the greater city next to Atlanta. But, you know, in Decatur, things is greater. But Decatur and Ouagadougou, which is the capital city of Burkina, became sister cities. Became sister cities because these brothers from Burkina Faso, I think they were working at Agnes Scott College. And they were of high integrity and moral character, where the people just loved them, you know. So it bourgeoned into a relationship between Ouagadougou, affectionately known as Ouaga, in West Africa. And that began, you know, my camaraderie with Burkina Bay people. As life would go, I found myself working in Cote d'Ivoire as the ESL professional. Okay, a little bit about the history of Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire is a lush and rich place. Agriculture, we're talking about everything from cacao, which is the base product of chocolate, to coffee, to bananas, to mangoes. Cote d'Ivoire is just agriculturally rich. And they lacked the workers to work the land. So the first president, Felix Houphouët-Boigny, he invited guest workers to come in from surrounding African nations, say Liberia, Guinea, Ghana, Mali, and Burkina Faso. So there is a large population of Burkina Bay people in Cote d'Ivoire. So that's a little bit of how, you know, I'm familiar with Burkina Bay people. But on to the greater subject is the present ruler of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has gained worldwide recognition for his dissolution of the relationship with France, right? That being said, everybody knows Ibrahim Traoré's name now. But just let me go back a little bit. Because roughly say 2014, you had a series of government changes in Burkina Faso. The name before it was Burkina Faso was Upper Volta because of the Volta River. But Thomas Sankara gave the country the name Burkina Faso, meaning land of the honest people, right? So, after Thomas Sankara was assassinated, the new president was Blaise Compaoré, right? And Blaise Compaoré, he ruled from let me get it. From October 1987 for 27 years and 16 days, right? So he ruled Burkina for almost 30 years. It is said that his government was rife with corruption. Burkina being a mineral-rich country, in Burkina we talking about gold, we talking about bauxite, we talking about iron, we talking about different precious metals, and now lithium, of course, and rare earth materials. So Burkina is a country that's not even to mention cotton. Cotton is a huge export in Burkina. But all that being said, Burkina Faso, as I remember when I was young, it used to be denoted as one of the world's poorest nations. All right? Might be poor in terms of finances, but rich in spirit. Okay? So, let me just cut to the quick. After Blaise Compaoré, 2014, you had Henri Traoré. He was president maybe one day. And then there was Yakuba Isak Zidi, president, 17 days. And then 2014, it was Michael Kafando, and he was president for about a year. Then there was another military operation, and Gilbert Diendéré became president in September of 2015, 6 days. Then 6 more days, Sharif Sai, president, another 6 days. Then Michel Kafando, president, 97 days. Right? This was 2015. So at this time, I was living in Cote d'Ivoire, and I saw all these regime changes. And then next it came Roch Marc Christian Kabore. Now, when Kabore was elected, I thought that he would be a pretty good choice. He was a pretty decent leader for his time and his dispensation. And there wasn't much corruption in his government, in my opinion, because at that time there was a whole notion of good governance in West Africa. But to be blatantly honest with you, the people of Burkina Faso was looking for some person to fill the boots of Thomas Sankara. And Ibrahim Traoré fit the model of a strong military man with a heart for the people, right? He cut back on the excesses of government leaders and government ministers, right? So that's why Captain Traoré has fascinated the people of not only Burkina Faso, but of the whole world, right? I'm one to give my support to Brother Ibrahim Traoré as an African American because I love what he's doing for the country. He's making deals for real. Burkina Faso faces Islamic insurgents on 2 or 3 different fronts. They have been trained, some by United States, but they've also contracted with Wagner, which is a Russian private security force, which that's the reason that there's flack between Burkina and the United States today. That's just a little quick talk about the politics of Burkina Faso. But again, the name Burkina Faso, land of the honest people, is so true. I love the Burkina people. I love Burkina Bay people. Matter of fact, my mother-in-law is Burkina Bay. She's from the tribe, the Dafi, right? So, you know, it's not like in the West where you hate your mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law, right? And I remember the last time we were in their village, we were standing on the road, and she said to me, Aaron, this is the road to Burkina. This is la route pour Burkina. La route pour Burkina. I said, okay. She said, you just go straight and you make it to Burkina, right? But like I say, Felix Houphouët-Boigny, the first president of Côte d'Ivoire, he invited a lot of Burkina Bay people to come work in Côte d'Ivoire doing the menial jobs. But the Burkina Bay people became very, very powerful in Côte d'Ivoire as business persons, some of them in the military. They even say that the present president, Alassane Ouattara, is from Burkina, right? Just like they were saying that President Obama was not born in America. President Alassane Ouattara had the same type of birthright issue in Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire went through a process where they wanted to reclaim their identity as Ivorians. As when I say Ivorians, I'm talking about Southern Ivorians, basically the Akan people, Bete people. So there was a backlash against all the so-called immigrants. Sounds familiar to the United States today. But I personally came to know a lot of Burkina Bay people, and like I say, I love them. They're beautiful people, hard workers, honest people. Here in Atlanta and in Abidjan, I was in the frontier of Burkina, which is the border, on my way to Bamako, Mali. So I have not spent as much time in the country of Burkina, but I know a lot of people from Burkina because they do inhabit Abidjan and all of Côte d'Ivoire. My neighbor, I remember one time he worked for a hotel. He was the groundsman of a hotel. He had lived in a little shack, a basic little shack with his family, next to a little place where they cut wood to make furniture, right? So they had a fire one day, and I saw the fire. My wife's nephew was there, and I saw this fire. I said, it looks like my house. I said, it looked like my house is on fire. So I bust out, you know, running, make sure my family was all right. And the man, it was a big fire that was going on. So, you know, we basically formed the bucket brigade, as firefighters would say. We basically had the bucket brigade going, and we fought to put the fire out, right? You know, here I am, African American, and, you know, I know what it say. It say, you know, how you supposed to treat your neighbor. You know, it's written in the book. You know, how you supposed to love your neighbor as you love yourself. You know. And, you know, I worked hard with all the men to put the fire out. And I guess a few months later, at Eid, the Eid festival, Muslim festival, I don't know if it was Eid Mubarak or was it Eid Tabaski? It might have been Tabaski. The man sent a big leg of lamb over to my house, you know? And I'm like, well, why? I was like, you know, what did I do to, you know, for the man to send this leg of lamb to me? And my wife said to me, would you remember when his house was on fire? You went over there and you helped him. This is, you know, he remembered you during the festival. I was like, oh man, that's so kind. You know, I didn't need anything for that. You know, so I could tell you countless tales of kind acts of Burkina Faso people to me and my family while I was living in Cote d'Ivoire. So I'm taking the brother Afro think tank up on his challenge about Pan-Africanists all over the world saying hands off. Leave Ibrahim Traoré the fuck alone. Leave that man alone. No hands on him. All right? So my prayer is that God always protects him and protects the people of Burkina Faso. With that, I say peace.